There have recently been some new arrivals here at Longleat. This is Celia with her newborn pup. It's one of the youngest living things here at Longleat. But what's the oldest? Let's find out on this week's edition of Junior Rangers.
Longleat, there are over 90 types of animals, and although these sea lions are only a few days old, I think you'll be surprised at how old some of the animals are.
Down at the lake you'll find Spot and Sonia, the Ugandan hippos. They arrived at Longleat as young 2-year-olds, and they have been here for 32 years, so that makes them, that's right, 34 years old.
Out in the safari park, you'll find the rhinos. These are the young members of the herd. Actually, there is another word that describes a group of rhinos. It's a crash. A crash of rhinos. Well, you wouldn't want to get in their way, would you? So, these are the young rhinos, but this is Winston, who is the senior member of the group, and Winston is 37 years old.
Back at the lake, you'll find Nico the gorilla, who is 47 years old and is the second oldest gorilla in Europe, and probably one of the oldest in the world. But there are animals at Longleat who can live much longer, and I think you'll be surprised at which ones they are.
Here at Pet's Corner, you'll find the parrots. Now, parrots can easily live to over 100 years old, but the oldest parrot in Pet's Corner is Nelson, who is a youthful 28 years old. But it's the tortoises that can live to a really old age. They can live to be around 150 years old. The oldest tortoise in Pet's Corner is Amos, who's only 75 years old. But even so, when he was born, the world was very different. There were no computers, no mobile phones, and the television had only just been invented.
So, Amos the tortoise is 75 years old and is the oldest living animal here at Longleat. But what other living things can we find here that are older?
Well, when the tortoise was born, Lord Bath was 1 year old. Longleat House and the estate have been here for over 400 years, and for all that time it has been owned by Lord Bath's family. And Lord Bath can trace his family tree back to 500 AD. That's over 1,500 years ago. And you can find out more about Lord Bath's family in the new Meet My Ancestors presentation at Longleat.
Wow, that's an amazing family tree. Hang on, tree, that gives me an idea. Come with me. It's not just the family tree that's very old, these trees are also very old. And they're still alive. Look, it was planted in 1789. That's nearly 220 years ago. I wonder if there are any older trees here at Longleat.
What we need is a tree expert.
Hello, I'm Rodney. I head forester at Longleat. I can tell you all about the trees, or most of them hopefully. What is it you want to know?
Well, we're trying to find the oldest living thing here at Longleat, and we're wondering if there are any trees older than this one.
Yes, I'm sure there are. There's some quite a bit older than this one. You ready to go and look?
OK then.
Right, well here we are, Joe and Annie. This is, I think it's the oldest living thing that there is at Longleat. And it's a yew tree.
It's huge as well.
I think it is, yes. I think we ought to measure it. It'll give us some indication of how old it is. It's 8 metres. I don't know of any other tree on Longleat that's as big as this. Seeing the measurement round it and some of the other indications of some of those big dead branches up there and things like this, I think it must be nearly 1,000 years old.
So, this enormous tree is around 1,000 years old. But is there any way we can measure its exact age?
The only way we could on this one is to cut it down, and then we had a look at the annual ring growth, but we can't do that. But I have got some nice pieces that I can show you that shows you the real ring growth on them, and we could have a look at those. They would give us a good indication.
All right, let's go.
Right, here we are, Joe and Annie. You know, we talked about the ring growth, didn't we, on the big tree? Well, this is a smaller section, but for every year we've got one of these little growths, one of these little ring growths around here. So we can tell the age quite easily. Now that's a piece of softwood, a piece of Douglas fir actually, and they're quite wide. It grows very quickly. Whereas we've got another piece, more or less the same size, but this is a piece of ash, and it takes a lot longer to grow. And those on the big tree would probably be a little bit tighter together than what those are on there. So how old would we think they are?
This one looks at least about 17-ish.
Well, let's just turn over because we've already counted. There we go, look. That one's 16 years old. So that's quite good, isn't it? But then when we turn the other one over,
93.
What a shock we're going to get. 36 years old. And both pieces of wood are actually the same sort of size, look. Very little.
Well, we've found the oldest living thing at Longleat. It's a tree that's been here since the Viking times.
Back at Longleat House, we have met up with Dr. Kate Harris, who looks after Longleat's historic collections, and she's got something very special that she wants to show us.
So I've got something really old to show you. It's not the oldest thing in the house, but it's the oldest man-made thing. Have a proper look at it. Can you guess what it's made of?
Stone.
No.
Iron.
It's metal, but it's not iron, it's actually bronze. That's an alloy of copper. And it's over, wait for it, 3,000 years old. It's called a shield pattern pull-stave axe, and it dates from the Middle Bronze Age, which is 1400 to 1200 BC. We do have older things in the house, but this is the oldest thing made by man that's in the house. Made in this country and used in this country.
What would you use that for?
Hunting. It was a revolution in human society to have metal, because before then all tools were made of stone. What do we call it in period then? Guess what?
Stone
Age. Oh, brilliant, you see?
And that would be the Bronze Age.
That's Bronze Age, yes.
So, the yew tree was 1,000 years old. But this axe head shows that there were people living here at least 3,000 years ago. That's nearly as far back as the Stone Age. I wonder if I'm in their family tree.
Have you ever thought about looking into your own family tree? I think I'm going to have a look into mine to see what I can discover.
But in the meantime, I'm setting my alarm clock for next week's show as we have an early morning call.